I'm not here to tell you that there's some shortcut to making your first $10,000 in sports betting, because there really isn't. There are no free lunches after all. I know because I've spent 9 years doing this. And during that time, here's what I learned. The people who actually make money in this game aren't chasing jackpots. And if you're wondering how, join the club. I made a private community for that exact reason. No pressure, of course. But if you're interested, links in the description, or you can just scan this. But basically, if you want to survive this game, it all starts with one thing, your bankroll. Now, I'm not claiming that this will turn your $100 into $10,000 overnight. But what I am saying is if your bankroll can't survive losing streaks, none of the other stuff matters. Because guess what? Even winning bettors lose. A lot. So even if you're actually good at this, like literally good, and you're hitting 68% of your bets, you're still not in the safe zone. Because just think about it. You bet on 60 games. Of those, you win 41 and lose 19. Yeah, you could probably argue that you're still winning more than you are losing, but you need to remember that those losses don't spread out equally. They come in streaks. Like, you can easily run into 8, 9, even 10 losses in a row purely because of variance. And it's not because your picks suddenly got worse or because the sportsbooks figured you out. It's just math doing its thing. So if you deposit $500 and start betting $100 a game, your bankroll doesn't stand a chance. All it takes is 5 bad games and you're wiped out. And who knows? Maybe after those 5 horrible bets, that's when you would have found your edge. That's why sharp bettors don't think in dollars. They think in units. Because doing that doesn't just protect your bankroll from variance. More importantly, it protects you from your emotions. If you knew how much money I've lost because I bet with my gut instead of my head, you'd think I was making it up. But it's true. It's a vicious trap that, sadly, I've been a victim of. And I'm not proud of it. I win a couple of bets, I start feeling sharp. Then, after getting that much-needed ego boost, I decide to triple my usual $25 bet. The bet loses, I get annoyed. And I convince myself that I can win it back next time. So I double it again, fire a bigger bet. Before I know it, I'm chasing losses I never planned to risk in the first place. So you see that pattern right there? That wrecked me like no bad pick ever could. Which is why I finally decided to ask myself, what would a pro do? And it hit me like a lightning strike. They won't bet random numbers, even when they know their probability of winning is high. Instead, they size their bets the same way a business sizes its expenses. Or in other words, their bet sizes are always fixed. And sure, some of them use the Kelly criterion to calculate for that, but I found a better solution. Just stick to a simple 1 to 2% unit size. So, if you're working with a $2,000 bankroll, your bet should only be around $20. And it stays that way no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's Tuesday night basketball, doesn't matter if it's prime time, doesn't even matter if Twitter or X is screaming at you with a lock of the century. The bet stays the same every single time. The reason is simple, and it goes back to what we talked about just a few minutes ago. If you stick to a strict rule, you remove one crucial variable from your gameplay, your emotions. By doing that, it allows your edge, if you actually have one, to compound slowly over time. Because, like I always say, confidence doesn't pay the bills, consistency does. Which brings us to this age-old question. How do you find your edge consistently? It's definitely not by firing a bet on the first line you see, or even picking a favorite team. You want to know how to stack up those edges? Uline Shop. All that means is comparing odds across multiple sportsbooks before placing a bet. And it doesn't even have to be huge gaps. Because let me give you an example. Say you're betting $100 on a game. Several sportsbooks list the lines at negative odds, which is pretty standard. But as you keep searching and searching for better odds, you find an outlier. There's one sportsbook that has the same bet at plus 116. Doesn't seem like much on the surface, but let me tell you what that difference actually looks like. At minus 147, if you win, you profit about $68. But at plus 116, that same bet gives you $116. That's about a $48 difference, which I know is still small. But see, you're looking at it from a one-bet perspective. What if you zoom out and see what that difference will look like over, say, 100 bets? Now that price difference adds up to about $4,800. Same picks, same strategy, same results. The only thing that's changed is the pricing. And listen, I know line shopping isn't the most exciting activity in the world. Heck, I also hate doing it myself. That's why I invested in a tool that does it for me. It's called OddsJam, and if you want to try it out for yourself, I'll leave the link in the description. Or better yet, just scan right here. But don't get carried away too much, because it's easy to feel invincible with a tool like this. that maybe you can dominate any and every market you set your eye on. Like the NFL on Sunday, NBA during the week, maybe some MLB sprinkled in, then throw in UFC on Saturday night. I get it. You want to take advantage and profit as much as you can. But I'm telling you right now, that's a slippery slope. And it's almost as bad as letting your emotions take the wheel. At first, it'll feel harmless. After all, more games mean more opportunities, right? Wrong. You're missing a key ingredient in this recipe for disaster, and that's the sports books. Have you forgotten? They've got entire teams of analysts setting these lines. They've got a separate group of people specializing in the NFL, another for the NBA, and then more people for the player props, totals, derivatives, all of it basically. And you're just one person with a phone trying to out-analyze different sports at the same time. And at the end of the day, you're not giving yourself any advantage. All you're doing is spreading yourself thin. So here's a better idea. Instead of betting everything, focus on one market, two at most. Like, for example, tennis player props, college football totals. See, when you narrow your focus like that, you'll notice a few things start to happen. You recognize bad lines faster. You understand matchup details that casual bettors miss. Then, when news breaks, injuries, lineup changes, weather, ref calls, you can react immediately instead of scrambling to catch up. And over time, your knowledge will compound, and you'll easily be able to spot an edge. Although I've got to warn you, winning individual games doesn't automatically mean you're winning long term. It doesn't make sense now, because in your head, you're probably thinking you're crushing it. But let me ask you this, have you actually checked? Yeah, I don't think so. After years of doing sports betting, I've come to realize that bettors are really good at remembering their wins, but they're also oddly good at conveniently forgetting their losses. So it might seem like you're doing well, but once you crunch the numbers, you'll see that's not quite the full story, which is why I can't stress this enough. Track every single bet you make, because the moment you do, reality shows up, and reality doesn't play around. It'll tell you things you didn't expect, like which markets you're actually profitable in, or which bets quietly drain your bankroll, or what your actual win rate is, or whether you're actually beating the market. So take it from me, don't take your wins at face value, because it's just one piece of the bigger picture. And that bigger picture should bring you closer to your goal, which is reaching 10,000. Now, if you want to see how I did it, I made a video of my entire sports betting system. You can watch it right now. Just click here.